Hi, this is Jeff. This is my first YouTube video, and what I'm going to do today is demonstrate how to smoke some nice barbecue pork ribs. And I'm going to be using a big green egg for the smoker. First of all, also this is Labor Day 2020. These are St. Louis ribs, and usually I take them out of the package, rinse the packing juices off, and there is a membrane in the back here that I like to take off before smoking them. It just allows more of the smoke flavor to get in, and also more of the seasoning. Sometimes it helps if you start on the other side too. You just have to keep working with it. I think this is the hardest part of making these ribs, is getting out this membrane. The bigger the piece, you can keep it intact, the easier it will be. I'm just putting my thumb underneath there, kind of coaxing it along. This membrane won't break down in the smoking process. That's why you kind of like to take it off. So I got this rub from Central Barbecue in Memphis. You can use any pork rub. And a lot of people put mustard to hold on the rub. I think these are moist enough that you don't really need to put any mustard on. Just give them a good toss, good coat. I don't think it's really all about the rub anyway. It adds some flavor to it. I don't like to overpower the ribs. So I filled up the basket with some charcoal and some hickory. And if you don't have one of these baskets, this is a nice touch that you can get. Also, I'm using for the first time the regular big green egg charcoal. I just had a store credit and the numbers worked out, so I just wanted to try some of that. Since it's going to be a shorter cook for ribs, you don't have to overload the basket. To regulate the temperature on this smoke, I'm going to be using the Pitmaster IQ. This is just the generation 1, the least expensive temperature control I could find. You see how it actually hooks on to the bottom where the air intake is. This is all plugged up, so all the air that it's going to get is coming from the Pitmaster. So that's how it's going to work. It's going to control the temperature by either giving it more oxygen or less. So how much wood I have in there. When the fun starts, I'm going to use a few of these Safelite squares, fire starter squares. They work pretty good. This is the first time I've used this. I got this big green egg from a friend of mine that got a Traeger grill. And so he actually gave me this entire setup, and these work pretty well. I used to just get the charcoal going in a charcoal starter, but these squares work pretty well, so I'm going to put a couple in there underneath this charcoal. And get it going. I also like to put a pan of water here to just keep the ribs moist. see I've used this pan before. Maybe when I'm a famous YouTube star, I can get new pans. So I'm bringing everything up to temperature. I cut the ribs in half just so that they fit better on this. This is a large big green egg. And what I do with the temperature probe from the Pitmaster IQ, I put it as close as I can to the center. You don't want it to get on the outside here because it's a little hotter there and it wouldn't be a true reading. You want it to get more towards the center. While that's coming up to temp, I also put another probe, usually in the meat. In this case, I'm just going to put it on the side just for a second check on the temperature of the smoker. And usually what I do is I just put this like this and close the lid, just to get a different to get a different perspective of what the temperature is. And one thing is, you do want to open the top vent slightly. You can't close it all the way, else it will put out the fire, even if you have the Pitmaster IQ going. So I'm going to start at the Pitmaster IQ. And I'll put it on about 250. You can hear that it's blowing the air now. It's blowing it through the bottom air intake. So I'm just going to watch the temperature for a little while here. Thermal Pro says it's 137 inside the cooker. This temperature gauge hasn't quite kicked in yet. And the Pitmaster IQ is trying to bring it up to 250. So let's just wait and come back in a few minutes and see how it's going. Kind of interesting. I had the Pitmaster IQ set for 250. It's been blowing for about 20-25 minutes. The Thermal Pro says that it's 272. The big green egg thermometer is about 270 or so. So that just shows you the different zones, the temperature zones. Like it's hotter on the sides, a little hotter, like not less hot here, but then hot on the sides, and then the Pitmaster IQ is, remember, it's in the middle, the probe's in the middle. Mix the sauce. I got some hot olive oil going here. Dice some onions. There's one yellow onion. I like yellow onion, they're sweeter. Get that going good. Barbecue sauce, I like to get the onions really soft and mushy. Unlike if you're going to use them in other dishes. What I'll do now is I'll put about 2 cups of ketchup in. I just estimate most of it. Some lemon juice. You just need to balance the acidity and the sweet and the salt. Here's some Worcestershire sauce. 2.5 hours into it. We're at a perfect state. The ThermoPro says 265. Pitmaster's about 250. This says about 250. The cook is going really well. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have going on. Looks like our ribs are doing well. Let's go ahead and get them sprayed down just with some moisture. This is half apple cider vinegar, half water. Let's go ahead and add some moisture to them. Okay, we've got to the point we're going to wrap these up in some foil. Let's go ahead and see what we have. Should better get it off with some tongs like this. Slather some of this barbecue sauce that we just made on it. Okay, let's have these cook in the foil for about an hour and a half. You don't want to get them too well done or too done. They'll fall off the bone. You want to get them between, like really soft, really moist, really mouth-watering, but not falling off the bone. So we'll check in about an hour and a half. The only way you can really tell if your efforts are going to be rewarded is to try a rib. So after an hour and a half, I took these off, put them on a cutting board. Let's go and see if they're falling off the bone. I think that they're just actually just right. There's a lot of nice meat there. You want to cut it with the bones. So let's just try a little bit of this. As they said in the Fried Green Tomatoes movie, I think we got a good scald on these.